After her latest romance fizzles out and she's been fired from her job, Allie realizes she's a little lost in life.
How many relationships do I have to have before I meet the right guy?
Then she reads an article warning her that if she takes a 20th lover, she's unlikely to find a husband.
That seems very high.
No, it's low.
With the help of her neighbor Colin, Allie seeks out her ex-boyfriends to see if she can find true love without increasing her man count. In What's Your Number?
All right, what's your number? Brian, Sean, you both just seen it. Brian, why don't you tell us what you thought?
Well, I think one of the big problems with this movie is it has a really messy premise that isn't believable. The idea that this oversexed female character would try to find true love by going back and redating all of her ex-boyfriends that it didn't work out with in the beginning just doesn't really ever make any sense. And also, it's just something that only really takes place in a movie. It's not something that anybody would actually do. I mean, they don't really sell that premise very well. Movies have contrivances that we can sometimes buy if they're sold well through good writing or interesting performances, but this movie is not one of those movies.
The premise actually doesn't help it be a romantic comedy. By having her go back through these 20 guys, luckily she only significantly goes back through about 5, but still, it's too many. We have really major actors that play her ex-boyfriends, Andy Samberg, Martin Freeman, Anthony Mackie, and by having so many of them, they have such limited screen time, we can't learn anything. We can't learn why the relationship didn't work, we can't learn why the relationship might not work this time around, and we don't learn anything about Anna Faris by revisiting these past relationships.
Well, it looks like the premise really wasn't working. What did you guys think about the acting?
I think Anna Faris is fine when she's trying to be a charming lead, but I think she tries way too hard to be funny in this movie, and I think the humor really falls flat because she tries to force it so much. I don't think much of it works.
And I think I disagree with you to a certain extent because I feel like she is the only performer that really kind of gives me anything in the movie. This is a good vehicle for Anna Faris. The problem is that it's not the movie. You know, she really needs her bridesmaids moment. She has a lot of the similar talents that Kristen Wiig has, but this is certainly not going to be that movie, and I think she's still searching for it.
Losing me job wasn't the end of the world. Still got me mates and a roof over me head. I don't need much, just a room somewhere far away from the cold night air.
I thought the saving grace here, if there was one, was actually Chris Evans.
No.
I do.
Take that back.
Take
it back.
I will not take it back. Coming off Captain America, I think Chris Evans is a pretty charming guy, and he's playing a role where he's not the nicest guy in the world, but I think he does find interesting moments where he's talking about how she makes figurines, and I do think that he starts the chemistry going a lot better than Anna Faris does.
He is the antithesis of charisma. Like, watching him on screen is like staring at a blank wall. There's nothing going on.
Yeah, that
there.
blank wall is Anna Faris.
Bam!
So the director here is Mike Mylod, and he's really made only a few films. The only one I know of is Ali G's In the House, the first Sacha Baron Cohen vehicle. And he's not working with a great script here, but he tries to do things to elevate the material. He puts in strange editing techniques when Anna Faris is drunk, speeds up the camera, does sort of lens flares and flashes, and I don't think it elevates the material at all. If anything, it's just distracting, and it makes it worse.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it has this kind of flat quality to it that doesn't really bode well when the content is also flat. It's supposed to take place in Boston, but it doesn't feel like it's in Boston. There are some set pieces, you know, they're near Boston Harbor. They go to the TD Bank North Garden where the Celtics play. But, like, you know, I feel like those scenes are just kind of in there because they're like, we need Boston things, because the rest of the movie looks like it's just shot on the back lot. There's also a really big tone problem because the movie waffles back and forth between two different kinds of films. It kind of wants to be a sexy, raunchy comedy in the vein of Bridesmaids, but then it also tries to be sweet and romantic for like a regular romantic comedy. And it straddles the line in such an awkward way that neither side really works.
Right, and that's really strange because there are movies that have struck that balance really well. Judd Apatow films like The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Forgetting Sarah Marshall, they're both raunchy and sweet, and they work, but for some reason this movie never found that balance.
So, why don't we take it to the vote?
All right. It's just not funny. Skip it.
And it's really not that romantic either. Skip it.
So what does that make it?
Not good.
Well, we have a big empty plate here, which is a skip it for What's Your Number. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What's your number?
I'm not going to ask anybody what their number is here.